Welcome to the Tea Mind. I'm Erica, and this is your weekly pause to put the kettle on, slow down, and reconnect with what really matters. Hello, and I hope your week is going really well. Today's episode is for that end of January stretch, and it is freezing cold where I am. It's almost never got light today, and it's getting dark again already. So it's that in between feeling. It's not quite a fresh new year, and it seems like a very long way from spring. And today we're going to talk about wintering properly as an actual practice, not just as a cool sort of Instagram vibe. And we're going to be using the water element in traditional Chinese medicine as our guide. And the water element is that quiet, deep, steady energy. And we're going to be pairing it with white tea. So a white tea of your choice, whether it's something like silver needle or white peony, and whatever you're drawn to today. Soft tea for a nice, delicate, soft season. So January's got a really distinct edge to it. That new energy has really faded. The light is hardly ever there. It seems your body's doing its best, but it's not always exactly buzzing and raring to go. And some days you might feel fine, but other days it might feel like everything just takes twice the effort. And that's not to mention all the stuff that goes on in your head sometimes. And when you start measuring yourself against some imaginary person who is thriving, productive, super organized, glowing, going to the gym every day, meanwhile, you're proud that you just got yourself out of bed. And that is what I want to name this week. A lot of us live as if we should be in permanent spring mode, but the world right now is in winter. Nature isn't pushing outwards right now, it's conserving and restoring and gently nurturing and holding on to things. So when we try and push forward and power through without adjusting, we don't feel motivated. Something just starts to feel not quite right. So, in traditional Chinese medicine, winter corresponds to the water element, which is associated with the kidneys and bladder area, and emotionally with fear. And whether you love that language or not, you'll recognize the mood of winter. It brings the quieter feelings to the forefront, the ones that you can more easily drown out when life is busy and loud. And late January is often the point when people stop being gentle with themselves. They start to push harder, double down, and push themselves to be more disciplined. But that doesn't always make you stronger. It can often lead to you just being a little bit more worn out. Maybe you've got less patience than usual, a bit less energy. Maybe everything just feels a little bit closer to the surface, and it can show up as low level anxiety with no obvious cause, lighter, more broken sleep. Maybe you're snapping more easily, got more brain fog than normal. And if you have got some symptoms like that, it's not all in your head. Lots of seasonal well-being guidance points to these darker months affecting mood and energy because of light and circadian rhythm shifts. So if you feel a little bit flatter now, that's your body really responding to the season and to the pace that you're trying to keep up with. And it's really important to not ignore this, but instead to lean into it. So if winter becomes a month-long grind after grind and you don't step into spring with momentum, so you need to step into spring. To really step into spring first, you have to give yourself the time to recover first. And that's what wintering is really all about. It's about protecting the parts of yourself now that you will need and want to access later. So it can be quite useful to look at this coupled with the water element because water itself, if you think of it, if it's flowing through a river and it comes to a big rock, it doesn't try and fight the rock. It doesn't try and win. It's not pushing against it. It's meeting what's there and it's moving anyway. So it's really persistent, it's soft, it's patient, and over time, water is powerful enough to change the shape of those rocks. And it's this lovely quiet power that we're trying to tap into. And I really love Catherine May's book Wintering, where she writes about wintering as a real season of life, whether that's literal or personal, where things slow down, turn inwards, and ask for something different of us. So, in her framing, rest and retreat aren't failures, they're all part of the cycle, and late January is the perfect time to practice that. It's not the shiny beginning anymore. We're in the long middle. And this tests whether you can stay with yourself without novelty and whether you can keep showing up when it matters. And that is where tea belongs. Tea's got timing, it's got patience, and it doesn't like being bullied and told what to do, especially white tea. So I'm brewing some silver needle and some white peony today. They're really delicate, minimally processed. And if you pour boiling water on them straight away, you can scald the leaves. So just let the kettle off the boil for a few minutes, give it a little moment to drop down to roughly about 80 degrees centigrade. And this helps to just preserve the gentle character of the leaves. And that temperature difference is quite small, but it does change everything. And that is the whole point. Winter asks for these small adjustments in the same way to protect what's delicate, including yourself. And often people say that they want more flow at this time of year, but what they're often meaning is that they want life to stop feeling like they're carrying 10 invisible things all at the same time. And in psychology, flow isn't about zoning out, it's about a deeper sort of engagement where you're absorbed and focused and present. And it tends to show up when challenge and skill are in a workable balance. But things like interruptions, whether it's external or internal, often get in the way. Might be those thoughts on repeat, or that worry soundtrack playing in your head, or that fear that you're doing something the wrong way, or just doing the wrong thing. And one of the simplest ways to reduce this internal noise is through writing. So just putting thoughts and words and feelings onto paper can often support that emotional processing. And some studies show it's been linked with health benefits over time. I'll link all the studies that I've referenced in the show notes below. So yeah, I'd have a go at just writing out whatever's going on in your head this week. Keep it simple. It's not a big deal. You don't need a fancy special notebook. Just a few minutes while your tea's brewing. Which is why today's tea routine is a short brew plus a short year of water set of intentions. And even though it's the end of January, we're still talking about the direction that we want to set for the year ahead and the coming months. So the reframe for this week is changing from if I slow down, I'll fall behind to instead, if I slow down on purpose, I will build reserves. And in traditional Chinese medicine, winter is often described as a time to conserve your kidney energy, and that's really your foundational reserves. And you don't have to take that literally to understand it. It's all about building our own inner reserves, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, in every which way. And this might refer to a steady mood, clear thinking, more patience when things don't quite go the way that you wanted them to, the ability to respond instead of to react, and that creativity that returns on its own. So, yeah, this wintering, it's about doing what supports you now so that you've got the resources when you need them later. So, to make that practical, I want you to borrow three of water's qualities. The first one is flow. So, flow is all about adaptation. Instead of trying to push through things, think about what would make things go smoother. And then the second quality is depth. And this is all about really leaning in and being honest with yourself. And winter has a way of bringing up what you've been avoiding feeling. And that doesn't mean that you're spiraling. It just means that you're finally maybe quiet enough to hear yourself. And in water element language, fear can arise in winter. But this, if you lean into it, can be information and more a request for gentleness, for support, and for just choosing a slower pace. And the third quality is a container. So water takes the shape of whatever containers it's in. So the question becomes, what vessel am I living inside? So your sleep is a vessel, your boundaries are a vessel, your phone habits are a vessel. And if your vessel is chaos, then your mind will feel chaotic, even if your intentions are beautiful. And this is why tiny rituals matter, because they help to shape your container, make your life easier to inhabit. And that's what sets you up for the coming months. So, The tea routine that I invite you to do this week is a nice slow brew with white tea while doing a little bit of journaling. So you can follow along with me now, or you can, if you're out walking or driving, just listen along, and the benefits still work even with listening, and just come back to it later. So the first step is to just be present and check in with yourself just for a few moments. Just maybe setting up your tea space, nothing fancy, just intentional. And start to notice any sounds around you. Notice your thoughts without trying to change anything. Notice your breathing, your shoulders, and just notice you coming back into this moment. And then just doing some breathing just for a few moments, just breathing in through your nose for 4, and then out for 6. Just letting the exhale be longer than your inhale. And that's just a really easy way to send your body a signal that you're safe. So just focus on that breathing for a few moments as you start to brew your white tea, whatever tea that you're drawn to today. And remember to let the boiled water sit for a moment before you pour, just to drop that temperature down a little bit. And gently watch the leaves open as they start to soften. Just remembering that this isn't a race. And white teas contains bioactive compounds like catechins, and tea naturally contains something called theanine, which is often purported to have properties that help you feel more calm and attentive at the same time. So as your tea is brewing, the next step is to grab a pen and paper, and then without thinking, without editing, just answer these 2 prompts. The first one is, this year I want to flow around. And then just name the friction that you're tired of trying to push through or just fighting against. This year I want to flow around. And just write for a few moments. You can always come back to it later. And the second prompt is, when I feel the winter dip, I will. And just choose one small action that brings you back to yourself. It might be something as simple as a cup of tea or a walk, a bath, 2 minutes of writing, whatever comes to mind. Just set that intention now. When I feel the winter dip, I will. And these small habits matter because they are repeatable. And then just holding that intention in your mind, just gently hold your cup with both hands, feeling the warmth enter your palms. As you just notice your breathing, inhale, shorter than your exhale. And then just taking a few sips of your tea, just noticing the gentle softness. And then saying quietly to yourself, I can move forward slowly and still move forward. And you can continue drinking your tea in a few moments and just continue journaling with anything that comes up. And I invite you to try and do this practice a few times this week. If you can, do it every day for the next 7 days. Just choose one cup of tea that you're drawn to. So white teas are particularly good for winter. They're linked to winter and the water element. Or if you need some more balance in your life, maybe some herbal infusions to help balance the water element. But whatever tea you're drawn to, usually trust your instincts. So choosing one tea a day and just focus on brewing 1 cup without multitasking, no scrolling, no emails, just your tea. And just following those steps of being present, just checking in, do your breathing, brewing, sip, and then ground yourself. And just ask yourself, what would it look like to work with winter today? And then do that one small thing. And that would be you honoring the water element. Just a small action every day. And just a note that if your low mood feels quite heavy and persistent, or it's a bit scary, please reach out to a professional or someone that you trust. Seasonal dips are common and support does help. So until next time, I invite you to slow down, pop the kettle on, let yourself unfurl, and keep your energy for what matters. That's it for today. I hope something landed. I hope something lifted. And if it did, share it with someone who needs a pause too. If you enjoyed this, you'll love the Tea Mind Substack, where the kettle's always on and we can connect more deeply. Until next time, stay present, sip slowly, and thanks for listening.